So I sold my Yamaha G22. You guys notice here from the channel that I only focus on about 3 different golf carts. First I had the Vitashi Wow. That was my first Chinese made golf cart, and it was a 60 volt unit, something that is not very common here in the USA. Typically we get between 36 volts and 48 volts golf carts. So after that I sold the Vitashi. Then I got a Yamaha G29 that was a 48 volt system, and I was able to install the Navitas, and I was able to get nice batteries for it. And then I sold that as well. After that I got the Yamaha G22 in white. Then I tested a few more batteries. I also got the Navitas controller for it. And lastly, I got the green Yamaha G22. That one had a unlock code for the controller, and it was completely stock, and I was able to do up to 21 miles an hour. But now I want to focus on different brands like Club Car, maybe Easy Go, so that way you guys can see that these batteries don't only work on Yamahas. The thing is, I'm still working with local businesses to see who's willing to lend me a golf cart, and in return I'll just give them the battery at a discount, so that way they can make their profit and I can make my videos. So what we got here today, guys, is a very interesting one. This is a Sisway. It is a 105 amp hour battery with a metal casing. It does have a smart BMS as well. It is a 200 amp BMS with a peak power of around 400 for a few seconds. So this is important because if you get a performance golf cart or have one, you're gonna need some power to get that thing moving. So this is in reality a 51.2 volt battery, which is designed for 48 volt carts. It comes with the charger and the display, and it retails for about $11.50 after a major discount. So that's not a bad price considering that this is a monster battery. It does weigh about 110 pounds, but when you guys switch from lead acids, the lead acid batteries that you guys have in your golf cart right now, they are about 400 pounds. This is only 110 pounds, which is a third of the weight that you had there before, guys. That's quite amazing. So anyways, as you can tell, it comes covered very nicely here with foam as typical. And as I said earlier, we get the display. That's going to be this bad boy right here. It is a standard display. I've seen this before. You get the mounting screws as well, and we get the charger. This one is a 20 amp charger, and if that's the case, this battery should charge from about 10% to 100 in approximately 5 hours. So this is made for like a different type of golf cart for sure. This is our socket right here, guys. So check this out. It comes already so that you can convert it entirely regardless of whatever you have on your golf cart. This is super neat. And right here you can see the charger. It is a common charger, meaning that it does have the IP67 certification, meaning that you can get it splashed with water. So this is designed to be mounted along with the battery inside of the battery compartment, and that's what we will do with whatever golf cart we get. So we get the little covers for the terminals. So inside here we had things like the manuals, maybe the warranty card, all that good stuff. You want to keep that around. And by the way, this battery comes with a 5-year warranty, okay, and it can hold up to 5,000 cycles of charge. All right, let's see how we're gonna do this in damage. Let's see what we got here. All right, guys, so here we have this massive, beautiful battery with all of the specs right here. And this one was manufactured on April of 2025. It gives you all the info right here. Again, we have that QR code so that you can download that Xiaoxiang application, in which I already have. It is right here. And as you guys can tell, we are at 50% off charge. And right here, we have a power on switch on the side. We have the LCD connection. Then we get the vent, the positive and negative. And this is another type of connection, maybe I don't know, I think this is for the charger, and this one came with the brackets already so that we can mount it to the base of the golf cart.
Much later.
Well, 3 days later, this is what I came up with, a Yamaha. This was all thanks to a local golf cart business that trusted me with this particular unit. No contracts, no deposits. I was trying to get something of a different brand, like an Easy Go, maybe a club car, but there was nothing available at the time. And so this is what I will work with. This is a very nice Yamaha. I believe this is a 2013, and it comes with a what they call the speed motor, but the controller is stock, so we are limited to about 25 miles an hour. We are reducing weight by taking, or the batteries are no longer there, but they took away the lead acid batteries, and we're going to hook up that Sisway battery, and also we're going to change the charging port, which is located here. We're going to remove the factory one and retrofit this somewhere in there so that we can make it work with the battery that we have. You also have a display, as you guys know, and I need to cut the floor to a level position for the battery because it sits as one. This is designed for, I would say, 4 different 12-volt batteries, and that's why you guys see the cutouts for them. But since we have only one battery now, we're going to level the floor, and then what we will do is screw into the floor so that way we can attach the battery with screws and make sure that everything is nice and firm. We do have the power converter right there. We have the positive and negative for the charging port and the terminals for the controller. And as always, guys, it's going to be a pretty decent installation, not too difficult, but since we have to modify a few things on here, well, it's going to be more than the average installation, but nothing too crazy. Well, guys, we got the battery on the card itself. Everything is fitting great so far. What I did do is replace these terminals. They go from the back side of the controller. We will connect here the power converter onto the screw first. That's because we want this terminal connecting directly into the terminal of the battery. Also, I made sure the battery is on the off position, and I also went ahead and made sure that the card is on tow mode. Those are 2 very important things that you must do. I had to connect the charger to the terminal, so I told you guys before that it was just going to be the power converter and the wires that go to the controller. Well, you will have to connect the batteries, negative and positive, and that goes second after the main terminal. The second one is going to be your charger, and the third one is going to be the power converter. So the power converter goes closer to the head of the screw. Just don't forget about that part. And now we are installing the onboard charger, and this charger came with this harness, which is your battery indicator. This, we might drill a hole right here so that we can have this on board. And then the axis, I'm going to hide it right behind it. and then of course this is going to get screwed onto the floor. And then we have this wire. This one gets connected on here, which is the charging port, and it goes on like this. I already ran it through here. Let me see if I can actually get it done, and I think we got it. So I already hooked up the screws onto the floor. I drilled the floor with this bit. I don't know the size, but it says 3/8. Okay, you're gonna need a 3/8. Just drill through. Make sure that there's no wiring underneath where you're gonna drill, and you should be good. This thing is nice and snug on there. I put one on each corner. We got some self-drilling screws on there, and I don't think that's gonna move anywhere anytime soon. It looks pretty nice and snug. I did put 4 of them. And now we're gonna work on the display. We might be mounting it right on the middle here. At least that's what the owner of this golf cart told me to do, so that's exactly what we will do, guys. The good news about this display is that I found that it works best right at the middle where these cup holders are, and if you look, the cup holders will still function just fine, which is what I wanted to do. And at the same time, this is a highly visible place, and I think it looks good even from the front side. Let me lift this. So as you can tell, it doesn't look the best, but it doesn't look terrible either, and it is very well aligned, so that's the good news. I just ran the wire through here. Now I'm going to zip tie it to the frame until we get to the battery compartment. So far we have our charger socket all set to go. We have our battery indicator all set to go. We have our charger all set to go. All we have is just a display, which we are working on. By the way, I had to drill a hole back here, and the one that I used was a 5/8, as you guys can tell right there, and that works perfect. All you have to do is just like wiggle it a little bit so that it expands just a tad bit, so that way you don't make something too big. And then you can fill it up with like black silicone if it bothers you, that little holes that is in there. I'm pretty sure nothing bad is going to happen. So yeah, that's what I did, and again, everything is looking great so far. Now what I will do soon is attach the charger and connect it here for now, and see if it does charge while I finish running the wire through. If you read carefully right there, it says charging communication cable. If I try to charge it right now, it doesn't do anything. The fan doesn't come on the charger itself. Well, there's another wire that you're gonna have to run through, and we have to connect it right here. You can see one says LCD and the other one says COM. Well, that's where this gets connected, where it says COM. So that's exactly what we will do. Our display is now working, as you can tell. Go ahead and peel this off. We are currently charging, and we zip tied it to the frame underneath. It starts right about here. We have another one here, another one at the very bottom, and one on the inside right here. It's about 4 different zip ties. I plugged that into the battery, and we are all done with the install of the Sisway battery. Here's our final verdict with the Yamaha, and everything came out to be great. There has been no issues whatsoever with this battery. The golf cart woke up quite a bunch. Maybe a lot of it has to do because we reduce weight so much. As you guys know, these lithium batteries reduce weight dramatically, and well, that gives you a lot more room to either add more weight to the cart, like more passengers, you get a better battery range, so on and so forth. But right here you guys can see that everything looks super clean. The only thing I didn't have was wire organizers like this one right here. Okay, this is needed so that we can put it on these 2 positive and negative terminals for the power converter, in which we had to replace. The other one was ruined and it was also corroded, and we also replaced the terminals from the battery to the controller, which are these 2 right here. And we got our onboard charger. Everything is set to go and is working perfectly well. We already charged this twice because we depleted it off camera, and now we are riding again, and nothing has really come off of it. We even did a little bit of off-road right here on the side of the canal next to my community, and the golf cart did excellent. So what we will do now is go ahead and take this thing for a ride. Now, performance wise, in terms of range, well, you guys are going to have to go by my word. You can get almost up to 30 miles with this setup. It was quite impressive, and I didn't deplete it completely. I did approximately 28 miles, and that took me to about 13% of battery charge. And right here we have our display, and as I keep mentioning on every video that I get the display, they are functional. You got the touch screen capabilities. You can enable the discharge and the charge. If you disable here the discharge, then the cart won't move. Okay, so right now we have 92.6 amp hours with the current percentage that we have, and these are all the cells on them. So they provide, as typical, about 3.3 volts per cell. We have 16 cells, and this is our percentage with the current amperage. And of course, we have the app. Since we can't really see it from here, we're going to go ahead and open the app, which we already have it open, and we will record everything as it goes on. So right here, screen recorder, we're going to go ahead and start recording, but we're not going to record the sound. So we're just going to do the on-screen recording. There we go, and boom. Now we're going to go ahead and start moving this thing. So another issue with this golf cart had to do with the lights. For some reason, the switch here, this one that even comes on, when I had it connected, it didn't turn on the power converter for some reason. So I kind of bypassed that by plugging in the switch wire from the power converter into the positive terminal of the same, and now everything's working fine. And well, I will explain this to the owner later. So anyways, guys, this is a lifted golf cart, and as we know, lifted golf carts will suck more power from the battery. I'm trying to explain this on easy terms. Some people are very savvy with batteries and what the amp hours are and all that good stuff, but I just like to use words that makes it simple for everybody to understand. And even myself, when I watch videos out there, I like simplicity. I like people explaining things where I can understand them, and that's what I try to do. So by sucking power, I mean the amp hours on the BMS. This one has a 400 maximum peak, and it does it for about 52 seconds, not 5 or 6 seconds like most BMSs out there. This one can do 400, and when I obviously saw this when I read the manuals, because it is not stated on their site, and this one can do 400 for about 52 seconds. That's insane, guys. So right here, we're gonna make a quick stop, and we're gonna go ahead and accelerate and see how many is being absorbed. So the takeoff is not very aggressive, but it picks up speed quite dramatically, and I can see here that I did absorb over 120 momentarily, and now it went down significantly. Now we are about 83 approximately. So that's going to be your average, is about 83, but on takeoff and even on hills, that's when you will deplete your battery the most or absorb the most power. It is quite common. Now on lifted carts, right, if you're converting it to lithium and your cart is lifted and you come from lead acids, well, you probably noticed that on lead acids you were depleting the battery quite fast, and so that's just a given. But now these batteries, since they have the BMS system and all that good stuff, you're gonna need a good BMS that is not gonna cut off on you guys, because yes, this one is lifted. It is great riding it. It feels great actually. Lifted carts, they are amazing, but like I said, with the bigger wheels and you know the knobby tires, this will absorb a lot of power, and it's 100% recommended that you guys get a battery. Even if it's costing you a little more, you're gonna get much better results. So of course, guys, we rode with my family on here. I put on the kids as usual, and this car didn't hesitate to move us at any time. Something that you guys must note when you do put more people on here, if you're running on the stock motor like this one is, it's going to heat up a little bit more than normal. That's 100% okay as long as it doesn't exceed, I believe I read it's about 150 degrees Fahrenheit. But again, so far I haven't had any issues with this golf cart. We rode it all around the neighborhood, and like I said, this is not going to be a range test. I am telling you right now what I got when I had about a little less than 15%. I had ridden it for about 28 miles in total. It was a long weekend that I had off from my regular job, and I rode it every day several miles to reach that point. Now, if you guys ask me, come on, 28 miles, that's a long damn way, man. You're not gonna ride 28 miles. I mean, that's basically commuting with a golf cart. You're not going to commute with a golf cart, but at least you have that peace of mind that you don't have to plug it in every night. You can plug it in every like once a month maybe. I mean, on average, I ride a golf cart maybe no more than 3-4 miles, maybe like every 2 days in a week or something like that. This is just to ride around the neighborhood and have fun with the kids. And sometimes I become a hoarder. I like to collect like broken gas engines, like lawnmowers, leaf blowers, weed whackers, and I like to fix them up, just to keep my skills polished. And I fix them up, and sometimes I go around the neighborhood on the days that they're going to pick up the garbage and see if I find any. And believe it or not, I have found a generator, a power generator, and I also found a leaf blower, which I still have to this date. I fixed them, and they are still working after about 2.5 years of finding them and fixing them. So I do that with golf carts. So again, guys, this is just all for fun. This is not something that you're going to commute with. So getting 28 miles out of this little battery is actually quite amazing. Also, let's speak about the build quality of the battery. It has a metal casing as well. That was my stepson right there. It has a metal casing as well. And with the upgraded wires, what that does, guys, is that it makes sure that the controller is getting whatever it needs. Now, those wires are overkill a little bit for the controller, because this controller is not a performance one, it's just a stock one. And but at least we know that it is Navitas ready. When you get a Navita system, you need better wires for sure, and that's what we did. So everything is great on this card. I mean, I have nothing bad to say. The battery never gave me any temp issues. Right now, the only concern here in Florida is that it's very hot. The average day here is about 93 degrees with a peak index of about 103 just about every day, like today. And so I haven't had any issues with the battery overheating. It hasn't turned off. The BMS has been working great. Right now we started with about 86% and we are at about 81%, and we have done a good like 4 miles approximately. And so it's been perfect, guys. No complaints. So all in all, I think this is a great investment, as I keep saying, with pretty much every lithium battery. So far, guys, I haven't had no hiccups with these batteries, and I do sell them, as part of what I convert into liquid cash, as we call it. I do sell them because I have no need of keeping so many batteries. I don't have that many golf carts. I usually have one golf cart at a time. Due to the fact that I live in a townhouse community, they're not going to allow me to have 6-7 golf carts at a time. So these batteries usually get sold. I have a gentleman that buys them from me for a great cost. In Cuba, things are very bad when it comes to the power and many other things, but we're going to talk specifically about power. Their power gets cut off every day. They only get power for about 2 hours. And so these batteries are being purchased, a lot of them, by a Cuban person that exports them to Cuba. Then they use power converters, and they feed houses with these batteries. And then for the time that they do get power, they charge them, and they also have solar panels that they use to charge the batteries and keep them up, because 2 hours of power is not going to be enough. So they have to use solar panels to keep the batteries charged during the day, and at nighttime they automatically go into battery mode, and that's how they do it, guys. So yeah, so these batteries serve for many different purposes, and I sell them, and I'm proud that they go for a good cost. Of course, I have to sell them a little bit cheaper just to make it attractive. You know, even though these only have like 2 or 3 charging cycles out of 5,000 that they can hold, well, people, when you take something out of the box, they automatically want a discount. Just like when you go to the store and you buy the open box item, you get a discount. So that's what I do, guys. But yes, no battery that I've ever sold has come back with a complaint. None of them. So I would say that these batteries are more than rated, but some of them have different specifications for different needs. And that's where the title comes from on this video. If you have a lifted golf cart, you do need a performance battery. You do need something that, even if it's a little overkill, but at least you are ready for the worst. Here in Florida, we don't have hills, as you guys probably know. Maybe around the center of Florida, like around Claremont, Winter Haven, Kissimmee, Point Siena. Those areas are in the center, and some areas do have a little bit of inclines, but for the most part in Florida, especially here in West Palm Beach where I'm located, there are no hills. But if you are in an area where you're going to climb hills, this is a must-have battery, because if you don't and you go with a cheaper one, you will be disappointed, because that BMS is not going to withstand what it needs to give the golf cart, and the BMS is going to shut down. We are about to wrap it up here with this Sisway battery, and hopefully I explained it a little bit more with details on what to do to you know, get these hooked up, or basically how to convert your golf cart entirely. It is not that difficult. Some people get crazy with it, thinking that, you know, they see all these wires like the series connection between batteries, and they don't know what to do. And it's quite simple, guys. All you have to do really is just disconnect all your stock batteries, okay? Just disconnect all the wires, and all you need to do is just find your positive and negative and work from there. That's pretty much it. Of course, you need to locate your power converter. You need to know on what sequence those wires go, which I already taught you how to do on the battery itself. You have to connect them in a certain way, so that way everything gets power the way that it needs to. Like for instance, the main wires that go to the controller, they had to be the closest to the terminals of the battery. And right here, guys, we can see we have these big rims. I believe these are 14s. Yep, they are 14s. And so yes, if you have something like this set up, you will need something a lot more powerful, and this golf cart rides amazing. I really like it. The only thing that I wish came out a little bit differently is that the stock charging port was sticking out a little bit more. Maybe we can put some spacers behind it so that it sticks out a little bit more, because this one is like protruded inside here of this little rubber grommet thingy that we have, like this little space cover. And so yeah, if it was sticking out a little bit more, it would have made it comfortable. But everything's pretty good. The display looks good. Everything came out to be 100%. This is our battery right here. The charger is a 20 amp charger, but in reality you get about 16 amps approximately from it, and it charges from 15% to 100 in about 5 hours approximately, guys. With this being said, if you have any questions, let me know down below. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, comment, and share, and I'll see you guys on my next one.